was like
Yo, Destiny,
he's back now.
have you received these emails? And I'm curious how you handle them. I'm receiving emails from women, and like, you know, when you see those articles about people talking about like, yo, Andrew Tate has radicalized my son or my boyfriend and stuff. I'm receiving emails from women sending me like pictures of themselves getting their ass beat by their boyfriend who like listens to Andrew Tate stuff. And I'm not
Jesus.
making him hold on. I'm not making him responsible beholden to that. But it's just been like this uptick of people like, oh yes, my watch is Fresh Fit and all this stuff. I'm curious, have you received any messages or DMs like that?
I have gotten messages from women that talk about how depressing it is that the Andrew Tate stuff is like so popular that, and this is kind of weird. Maybe this is just crazy, or maybe it's more popular than I realize. Because I always assume stuff on the internet is a little bit more internet maybe than it actually is, even though a lot of it's like in real life. I get a lot of women saying things that like they're paranoid when they're talking to guys that these guys have been listening to Andrew Tate, that it's gotten to that level of like paranoia. I don't know how many people. I've only had 2 women tell me that. Maybe it's not a widespread thing. Maybe it's becoming a widespread thing. Like I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I had one girl. She was telling me that they were repeating verbatim a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying like because she's a single mom, she's washed, and that she just should accept whatever he gives her. I was like, wait, people are saying this to people in real life, like
Yeah.
after hearing on the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I just didn't know if you were getting any people who haven't lived experience like that, or if they were just complaining or is depressed by the fact that this stuff is popular. Are you just receiving that kind of talk?
No, that they hear it in real life and that they're paranoid that every guy is listening to it and believes it.
Do you think that the response from the schools saying they're trying to, because they're hearing these boys repeat a lot of this stuff at school, do you think that the response from the schools is sensible?
The thing is that like by the time you're at school, you're kind of fucked. Like, what is a school realistically gonna do? Like for shit that they're getting in the household.
Yeah, who would you listen to? Charismatic Andrew Tate or some fucking teacher who looks like a dweeb tongue? You got
Yeah, or even just like by the time like kids are saying it in school, like that shit's already like fucking sailed. You know, you're kind of like there's not much. I mean, you can fight a little bit against it, but if they're getting stuff like that in the household and everything, like the teachers aren't gonna have much sway at that point.
Yeah. I know you did the Tate debate, which you thought was rather boring. Did you have any of these conversations about his guilt turning like that with the Red Pill folks in person?
No, not in person, but after the research I've done, even if he gets an innocent conviction, or not, I shouldn't say innocent. You don't get an innocent conviction. Even if there's not enough evidence to like bring charges or whatever, that dude is a pimp, 100%. Like I feel pretty confident saying that he's a pimp. He managed. Yeah.
Did you censor yourself, or because you just cut out? What did you say?
He's a pimp, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, pimp. Okay. Some people are going to say this because they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with being a pimp? Well, is that illegal?
I guess theoretically you could pimp ethically. But the problem is I think he trafficked the fuck out of the women that are involved in his business. He basically seduces them, lies to them, brings them to a certain place, and then he uses a lot of like pretty sophisticated forms of social deception in order to kind of like lock them into a lifestyle that they probably would have never chosen otherwise. And at the same time, he's stealing from all of them as he does it. So.
Was he going for young women? Was you confirmed?
Very young women, yeah. There was that, him and Tristan bombarded like 15, 16-year-old high schoolers in Romania with messages and shit to try to shut him up. That one daughter of that Romanian politician leaked some of the messages that he was sending, yeah.
And you've discovered this, you've confirmed all these things, or this is just like here?
Yeah, this isn't even like the Vox people said this, blah, blah. These are all like text messages I've seen. These are things that he said himself. Well, the only possible way that what I'm saying is not true is if like people are faking evidence and shit. But based on the evidence I'm going on, that's pretty unlikely. A lot of this is just stuff that Andrew Tate himself has described too. Like he talks and he describes his pimping business. But yeah.
And how did you react to the people who are saying stuff such as, oh, well, you know, they weren't locked to a boiler, or they didn't have any handcuffs? How did you have the conversation with them? Because I think I heard you in that debate
if I'm going to debate with someone, it's going to be over the law. Like for people that say stupid shit like that, like they're so far gone, I would have to work so hard to build any bridge to get them to understand that you don't have to like lock someone physically in a room and hold a gun to their head for it to be like a form of slavery. But I don't know. Yeah.
Are you going to do this debate with other people in person anytime soon?
If anybody wants to, yeah. Especially now that I have so much more information about it. I feel like it's going to be a fucking steamroll. It's unbelievable. Like, it's not even like a close, like, it's not like a hard debate. Like, it's pretty obvious with all the shit that he's got out there. Like, he refers to his main girl as one of his bot. He uses the phrase, like, and then he talks about how he uses her to deceive other women that he gets to fall in love with. Like, he lays it all out, like, really clearly. It's not even that, it's not even like that, like, hidden. Like, he's pretty open about all of it.
I'm actually, I hope you set it up. I hope you ask people and be like, yo, you guys want to have this conversation, be it with Sneeko or any of the dudes who are out here defending him actively. I'd be
Mhm.
curious to see what they would say if confronted with the evidence that you show that is real. Other than it's a deep fake, it's AI. Because I heard some grown ass adults say that,
Yeah.
which made me cringe incredibly hard. So I'm curious to see what they would say to that. You should probably just try to go ahead and set it up, Bots.
Yeah. It's actually really funny. In one of Andrew Tate's videos for like coaching how to pick up women, he actually explicitly says that like one of the things I like to do with women is I tend to send a lot of voice memos instead of texting them. I send voice notes to them because it makes them feel special. So that's like a habit I'm into. And that was funny because for the WhatsApp thing, I actually was thinking like, why the fuck would you send like voice messages to someone saying this shit? But then in other videos during my research, like, oh, he actually sends voice memos to people pretty often. So that was interesting hearing him corroborate that thing that seemed unlikely initially to me. Yeah.
I mean, I use WhatsApp. Voice messages are incredibly convenient. Most people who message me end up sending me voice messages at some point or another, pretty often. Like you sometimes have whole conversations that way.
Interesting.
And if you're a busy ass person, texting is not convenient. You just grab your phone, you hit the button as you're moving, and you just say stuff. So, voice messages are actually really common to say that. And yeah, to me, I don't know why people thought that shit was fake. It actually sounded super real to me because you would actually hear the background of televisions in the back while he was saying certain things.
Yeah, people
Generally,
are. Oh God.
Go ahead.
I was saying people were
just
hard
people
coping
fake it,
on
they
that,
don't do
like,
that.
oh, I can clearly tell it's fake. I can actually tell there's a deep fake. It's like, motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably the more interesting sagas in the Red Pill whole thing, because of the fact that you're seeing people engage in like cognitive dissonance when it comes to everything that's coming out and engaging in such defense of a man that they would never like the amount of charity and like good faith, quote unquote, that they're showing him, they would never show to a woman accused of half as much.
Yeah.
And so it's bizarre watching people who don't know him, have no personal relationship with him, sometimes go to such lengths to defend him in such illogical ways. And it really does expose something like kind of weird about it. It's made me, I don't know. I guess I was a bit surprised by how hard they've been going on his defense, despite not knowing him personally. And so I think that just made me feel like, before I used to think a lot of these people were just out to make money. Now I'm pretty much convinced that all of this is just like a grift for evaluating them.
What do you think is a great?
I have to believe that. Like, if you go after women saying, "Oh, you guys don't have logic, this and that," and you bring your studies and all these other things, and then when confronted with evidence, your response is, "It's AI, it's artificial intelligence." Like, how do I not look at you different? You know what I'm saying? So that's probably been. I think that's probably been the biggest change for me. What about you? Has there been any change for you and your perspective of the Red Pill after this?
I don't think it's a grift. I think they all legitimately believe it, but I think they're emotional, like everybody is. You've got your guy, you really like him, you want to defend him, so people get emotional over it, and then they use their inner feelings instead of like being logical.
Wait, are you saying men can be just as emotional as women?
Yeah, go figure. How crazy is that, huh? Like I said, I always wish I could like lock some of these people in a room and present a whole bunch of evidence for what's going on, but instead of Andrew Tate, it's Hunter Biden that was recorded saying this shit. And then at the very end, I could reveal, like, after getting their feelings on, what do you feel that Hunter Biden said? He likes to make women fall in love and blah blah blah. And they're like, oh, that's the worst fucking thing in the world. How could you ever blah 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 blah? And then like reveal, like, actually it was this conservative guy that said Andrew Tate. Yeah.
Yo, forget your fucking, that whole change my mind series. Forget that. You should go to one of those Andrew Tate rallies, and then literally record yourself talking to people and then saying, "This is stuff that Hunter Biden said. Do you think he's guilty?" And then fucking flip it and just say, "Actually, no, Andrew Tate said that."
Yeah.
I would pay money to watch that.
It's super sad. I've only done that type of setup once in my life. It was when I was debating Fuentes over whether or not like black people or Mexicans could integrate to the United States. And I think I read a quote from some, and was basically like describing like Hispanic people have their own culture. They've come here together and formed their own enclaves, and because of the way that they live in their environment and work with their own and speak their own languages, they'll never integrate, blah blah blah. And I read on the corner, I was like, do you roughly agree with this position? He's like, yeah, 100% I agree with it. Like, this is the truest thing I've ever heard, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, well, this was like a quote from somebody else describing Italians when they came over in the United States, and obviously nobody thinks that they're not, right? So it was kind of funny to pull that, but yeah, I think people are going to be really biased towards everybody's like very ideologically poisoned. Like, that's it. That's like where most of their opinions come from. Like, is this my guy? Yes, I support it. Is it not my guy? Then no, I don't. And I'm going to backwards rationale whatever the fuck I have to in order to get to that position. And it's just really silly. This
is the bot programming that you've fallen under.
Yep.
I could see the feminist brainwashing that's lead you to believe that a righteous, God-fearing man would engage in this kind of behavior. And you have to believe that because you believe in Satan.
True. True and based. No.
I wish I could do that. Every time I disagree with someone, just call them a bot in the feminist program. I want to start saying that.
I will say I think he laughed a little because he might have realized he was like really ridiculous what he was saying. But it was funny because Sneeko was like, I think when I was on a stream with Pixie and Aaron, Sneeko was like, I can tell just by this that you probably got the vax, you probably did that, blah, 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 because you're a bot. And as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, well, hold on. I can listen to like 2 things a Redpiller says, and I can probably guess that they're like pro-Trump, anti-Ukraine war, anti-vaccination, anti-blah, blah, blah. And I rattled off like 10 positions, and he was like, and he said, well, that's different because those things are all true. But he laughed a little bit when he said, I was like, you realize how fucking dumb you sound, right? That this is like, you are a bot, like just as much in. But I don't know if he laughed because it was awkward or because he realized it was a little ridiculous what he was saying, but like, yeah, that was funny. I've heard people say that before where I'll say like, but don't you believe this, and they're like, yeah, but those are all true. And I was like, yeah, doesn't everybody think that?
Yeah, my favorite, I think, was when you were talking to him and Pearly, and they were like, people's personal experiences matter, and like, because enough people believe it, then that's great, and that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you got to talk to people. That's the real data. And you're like, well, what if 10,000 people believed that the Earth was flat? Would you believe it? And it was like a giant pause, and they just never came up with an answer to that. And I thought that was so telling.
Yeah.
They'll do this whole thing where it's like, oh, this is the popular belief, therefore it's true. And I thought your counter was like very eloquently put. It was like, just because a lot of people believe it doesn't necessarily make it true.
Yeah.
And then you hit with that. How did you find debating the two of them? Did you enjoy that process? Did you feel like you handedly dismantled a lot of the ideas that they had to the general neutral public?
I think Sneeko's more fun because he's a bit more honest and conversationally adept. I don't like the Just Pearly thing tactic of being like, oh, I don't know, I'm just asking questions and I don't have any, like, at least Sneeko will come full out like, yeah, I believe in the fucking Matrix and that this is happening and this is blah blah blah. It's like, okay, cool. But whereas Just Pearl will do this like really obnoxious, like, I don't know, I'm just asking, I don't have any strong opinions on this at all, and here's a really pointed question and statement I'm gonna make about it. Like, that was so fucking irritating.
Wasn't she the one who said, yeah, have you ever watched a full Andrew Tate podcast?
Oh, yeah, and then she just let it hang, and it's like, did you want to imply anything? She's like, oh, no, I was just asking. I was like, okay. It was so dishonest. I didn't even engage with it afterwards. You're so whatever, dude.
Bro, are you just not being charitable to her because she's a woman?
True. Uh-oh. Justin Roiland terminated from Rick and Morty. Yikes. Did you follow any of the shit? Sorry, this just got tweeted.
What did he do? It's okay, let me Google it while you talk about it.
So I'm gonna give you the edgy. I think my take is true, but it's a little bit edgy.
Abuse charges. Ooh.
Wait, what? I didn't hear that. Is that true?
Adult Swim cuts ties with Justin Roiland following domestic abuse charges, according to the Hollywood Reporter.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I didn't know that. I had no idea about that.
2:13 p.m.
I thought that was over all the weird kind of creepy texting he did with like
charged with felony domestic abuse in Orange County.
Rip. Justin, felony domestic abuse. Bruce is leaving OTK. Rip.
OTK does not deserve black people.
Jesus.
I meant black people don't deserve OTK. Like, hold on, that's how I meant it the other way.
Yeah, I don't. Listen, whatever.
That's how I fucked up. I mean, black people stay away from OTK, okay? You know what I meant. Okay, I fucked that up.
Uh-huh.
The alleged incident occurred in January 2020, and Roiland was charged in May of that year. But the charges apparently went unnoticed by media outlets until NBC reported them on Thursday. So this has been going before there was any media attention.
Damn.
For the last 2 years.
Ripperoni pepperoni. What are you going to do, man? Sometimes you just got to hit a bit. Never mind. You don't do that. Don't do that.
I saw somebody's going to make a compilation of all the fucked up things you're going to say, and they're going to show it to me, and they're like, defend this. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah, true. See, I didn't say that, though, because it wouldn't have passed the vibe check. There was a guy I've been talking to who's coaching me recently through my rhetoric, and he said, make sure it passes the vibe check. I've noticed when I introspect my behavior.
Who said that? Who said that fucking such shit?
The guy that got me unbanned from Twitter.
You're unbanned on Twitter?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wild.
Hey, man, I DM'd Elon Okowago, so maybe that came through the pipeline later.
True, yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying, I did DM him. I DM'd him on YouTube. That shit was crazy.
Okay,
you got unbanned on Twitter? Hey, I'm actually happy for you.
Yeah. But it's different now
because
I'm
gonna be back.
Well, because I'm cucked now, so I don't say as much. I guess it's like okay, but like I feel like I'm shackled.
Hey, I'm happy for you, man. You getting a lot of dubs this year.
Maybe. If I get unbanned from Twitch, that would be the ultimate dub, but we'll see.
Hey, man, listen, Twitter's not for you to just use it efficiently. You know what I mean? You got this. But, hey, I don't know about no vibe check, but I'm happy for you. I'm actually legitimately happy for you because I know you were really, like, cheesed by not getting unbanned. So I'm glad that you have some connections now in high places. Good, man. Look at you. So what's this vibe check? What do you got to do?
Basically, when I go to tweet, I try to imagine, like, what would it be like for, like, a random to describe this tweet to somebody else?
Oh, yeah. You definitely going to fail that vibe check.
Well, if it fails, I just don't tweet it. So that's, yeah.
Have you been doing that?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Let me go check your Twitter. I don't believe you.
I think the worst I did was I had, like, 2 tweets where I kind of sort of fought with a couple trans people, but it's over, like, xenogender shit, so I don't think most people will care. I think for the most part, it's pretty chill.
Yo, I just saw Crowder go on Tim Pool's thing.
Yeah, he
Bro,
did.
the way he was dodging questions was crazy. One of them asked him, "Yo, are you did you get a counter offer, or did you put in a counter offer, and then after that got rejected? That's when you exposed him." And he kind of like dodged the question. He went rambling about his like cause, and it's not about the money, and but it turns out they did put in a counter offer. I think it was like for 120 million.
Well, I don't like to say he dodged questions well. That's kind of like giving an actor credit for not getting beat up on set, because that was like, I don't want to say it was scripted, but they were being so soft and easy on him. They weren't giving him any hard question at all. So of course he's dodging everything because Tim and his friends there are not there to hold his feet to the fire at all. They're there trying to get fucking a position in his new media platform that he's going to be opening.
I don't know. I just can't. Maybe it's me. I think the craziest thing about the whole thing was him recording the call. Is it just me? Is that not crazy?
No, I don't think recording the call is a big deal. If somebody's actually like yeah, but you're talking to the fucking master call recorder over here. If somebody's really trying to fuck you over or some shit, I think it's okay. But my problem wasn't that he recorded the call. My problem is that he set him up on the call. That was wild. Because on that call, he's like, it's not like, okay, how do we feel about this term? How do we feel about this, like, fee, blah, blah. It was like, don't you agree that we need to do everything that we can to help the conservative movement? And the guy on the other line's like, yeah, but I mean, like, this is kind of how we do our, contracts. And it's like, but shouldn't we protect small like, that was like Crowder. And I'm like, is anybody really buying this shit? Like, it's actually cringe as fuck. But I mean, he's, he's got people.
It was super transparent. It was super transparent.
It's obvious what he's doing. Like, this isn't for me. This is about the entire conservative movement. And it's like, okay.
This is for the little guy. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Speak of the devil, Stardust.
Hi, thank you so much for signal boosting me. I really, really appreciate it.
No worries.
I thought my life was over.
Yeah, that would suck. I don't know why Abba is saying thank you, but yeah, no problem. I always retweet your shit.
I thought she was talking about me mentioning her on stream.
Oh no, I retweeted her stuff, and I was the sole reason why she got unbanned. So.
Okay. There is a group of people, and Destiny was definitely one of the people who.
I'll be honest with you, Stardust. I don't know you well enough to retweet anything you do. So
that's okay. You don't have to.
But I'm glad you got Destiny in your corner. I love that for you.
I appreciate.
And I only got 800 people on Twitter, so I wouldn't be able to do shit.
Yeah. No. I appreciate it. I really do. I see you guys are talking about Steven Crowder and him probably making his own little media thing, his own little streamer site.
Yeah, we were talking about the call, bro. The call really. Here's what I think was weird about it. I've had a lot of negotiations with people before. When you start recording a call on a non-binding term sheet that early into negotiation, that's why it's sus.
Yeah.
This isn't like they gave him a final offer. This isn't like they were, going through some kind of non-compete and this guy was getting fucked over. This is a non-binding thing for a company you can choose to join or not, and that's it. If you are recording that call, you're already coming in tremendous bad faith, because it's not like there was anything so egregious in that contract itself that it warranted that. If it was a slave contract, if it said like you needed to, I would understand, okay? But that's not what this was. It wasn't a great contract in some degree. You can make the argument if you believe it, that's fine. But it wasn't so egregious that required you to record it for potential use later. That's sus to me.
Yeah. You could tell, and he'd already registered that domain like a few weeks, I think, before recording that final call. So you knew he was like up to this fucking his dumb shit. But it was so funny how people are acting like the Daily Wire, that contract was so fucking horrible and blah, 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 when it was just an initial term sheet where there hadn't even been like serious back and forths yet. Yeah, whatever. It's stupid.
Look, I think he just tried to position them as some kind of industry or how do I put this, establishment type of organization, and the anti-establishment folks are always going to side with Crowder on this because they're like, oh, I'm not against the establishment. If that's what they are, then I'm against them. But me listening to the terms, it didn't sound that crazy. And again, which I think is the most important part of this whole thing, you can go through the negotiation process and try to fix a bunch of stuff. So that's why it seems so disingenuous to me hearing them talk. And then, I don't know, I would feel so fucking peeved if I was on a private call with somebody.
Yeah.
And then I later found out they recorded the whole thing to do some kind of expose afterwards. Especially if I really wasn't trying to fuck them over.
Exactly, yeah. And there was nothing even bad released on that call. He didn't say anything egregious.
Like he knew, though. It seems like Jeremy had like kind of an inkling, like that this is a little bit weird. I think he's recording me, and he said like there was a phone call we had in his response video when he was going through the entire contract. So I think he had a feeling that.
I don't even know if he had a feeling. I think that that's probably just normally how he speaks. Like they're going to be respectful. Oh, there's so many like obvious things if you're in industry, and there are so many not obvious things if you're out of it. Like if you're out of it, like here's a general thing that people believe. People generally believe that everybody who's trying to draw a contract up is gonna fuck you over and they're gonna ruin your life and they wanna fucking be hardcore business, blah, 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 blah. When it comes to in-industry stuff for top talent, you're not trying to fuck them over. You're going to be competitive with talent, but you want them to like you. These relationships are really important. You're not going to reach out to arguably one of the most popular conservative creators and try to fuck him hard on some ultra exploitative contract. These are people, like, these are the types of contracts that could potentially get renegotiated mid-term if they're like, if people are really unhappy with the terms and conditions, depending on what's going on. Nobody's trying to like slide some weird fucking condition under the fucking rug and fuck you over, because then you're not going to like working for them. You're not gonna have a good impression of them. The content's gonna suck, and like everybody's gonna walk away feeling like shit. That's just not how these things go. But yeah, Crowder has this like designed this message that like the Daily Wire was trying to like do some crazy under the shit. Like, why the fuck would they do that? It's so stupid.
I've seen, okay, so I've worked with companies who've tried to offer me bad contracts and just promptly rejected it.
Yeah.
We don't like this contract. It's not great. And we've talked about industry standards before. But we never mentioned the company in hand. We didn't mention any of this stuff. Like, we just talked about it. This same company years later came back to us with an offer that was substantially more than what we thought we would get on the market at the time. And we only managed to get that because we maintained good business relationships with them. To me, it's such a poor business move.
Yeah.
To engage in that.
Especially with your A-list talent, yeah. Yes,
and then also to do so publicly, because any other company who's not looking to work with you is looking at your behavior and the way that you engage in it shadily and saying they're going to be reluctant to do so to some degree, or if they do so, there's going to be a lot of red tape involved. So you're giving yourself a bad name. I know for me, I'd actually heard good things about Crowder in terms of how he treats his employees. Because I know people who've worked for him or wrote for him, and they say, yeah, he pays me on time. There hasn't been any issues. Great. But then I see this stuff, and I'm like, damn, business-wise, maybe he's not the most ethical person when it comes to handling some of this stuff. So I just think it's just bad overall from a business standpoint, period. Now we talk about like the people involved in Daily Wire. It's like, this is not the way you want to do business publicly. And I hope his big con thing works, and it's a great money move. Maybe he has no intentions of ever working with big companies in the future, and he just wants to extract as much resources. But if it's not the case, I think he's really, in the long run, done a lot of damage to himself.
Yeah, fuck him. I like the idea of other platforms succeeding, but I don't want to see him get rewarded for this type of shitty fucking behavior, for this like shady fucking bullshit. I think it's really insane. But yeah,
it does seem like a lot of conservatives. Where have you seen the public reaction in terms of actual conservative creators lie? Do you think most of them?
I don't know. I don't actually have my pulse on like the conservative community as much, but I feel like in general, Crowder represents the anti-establishment kind of like far right, not ultra far right, but far right people, and Shapiro is a bit more of the like mainstream like center position Republican. So my guess is the battle lines are probably going to be drawn exactly on those lines.
I actually have been really surprised. Just what I've seen on Twitter from conservatives that I follow, and what I've seen in like Twitter Spaces, has generally been pro Crowder, and I'm really, really surprised by it because I thought it was very transparent what he was doing.
Well, don't you generally follow like farther right conservatives though?
No, I follow some more moderate ones as well, but I mean they are anti-establishment as well, so it might have to do with that.
Yeah, because my guess is going to be that like every like normal moderate kind of Republican person is going to be siding with Shapiro, and everyone that's not is going to be siding with Crowder, the more far right ones. That'd be my guess, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be. I think it might actually hurt Daily Wire. I hope it doesn't, but.
I agree. I actually agree with I agree with Stardust. I think it's going to benefit Crowder, and I think he's going to get a dub from this.
Well, yeah, I think. Well, yeah, because his position to like.
People are gonna buy.
Yeah, it looks crazy if you don't know anything about these contracts. That's why I said initially that's the most annoying part is that especially when people like fucking Tim Pool are willing to simp and run defense for him, or Rakeda are willing to run defense for him, it makes his position seem way more reasonable when it's not. It's untenable.
Anyways, I'm gonna go spend time with family. Always a good chat, brother, man.
I love you. Be careful, babe.